grow up with the NES, PlayStation, Star Wars, cartoons, and 80s TV? Do you like to think who would win in a fight between Batman and the Master Chief? Comics, games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of geeks. Games, movies, music, and TV, they're gonna tell you everything you need. Superheroes or not, they got your back. They're gonna save the world of This Week in Geek. This Week in Geek.
Hello. It's been quite some time since we had a TurdOrTreasure review show. This is just a quick one we're putting out this week, probably before the main show, just to get some of the reviews that we've been figuring out, when we should put them out, just to get them out there as quickly as possible. Probably a couple from me, probably one or two from Birdman, and not much else going on other than Birdman and I have been mostly homebound because of a couple weeks in a row. It's been bad weather at certain times and inopportune times overall, but I think we both ended up going to the movies on the same day, but seeing the same movie but in different cities. We'll probably talk about that on the main show. Outside of that, it's been a lot of catching up on streaming and on TV, and just had a few days where I wasn't feeling so well. He had a few days where he wasn't feeling so well. It's flu season, people, so we've got to deal with what we got to deal with. Gaming wise, I can say, what am I working on right now? Depending on what comes out, Birdman is working on Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. That was sent over to us from Koei Tecmo. We've also got, I have Justice League Cosmic Chaos that I just received and starting to work on that. As far as other games are concerned, there's not a whole ton coming up yet. Movie-wise and that, we've got a few things from Paramount that came in. Babylon came in for me to check out on, I believe, I don't know, is it a 4K? I gotta double check, but it's a Steelbook, so I'll be checking that out. Mill Creek sent over a bunch of titles. Some of those will probably be in this, because I got them earlier. Others might come later, mostly collections of things. Not a ton of new stuff. That way, we are waiting on some other movies and stuff to come in the mail. Birdman got a big bunch of, I think, Hasbro Transformer stuff that he's going to be checking out and reviewing over the next few weeks, and probably recording a bunch of reviews that will then disseminate over the next few weeks as well. So we're not going to keep you very long. It's mostly, hey, we want to get these reviews out and talk about them. So without further ado, I'll kick it off by sending it over to either myself or Birdman. We'll have a few reviews in a row, and I'll come back at the end to give you a quick update on our programming and what's happening overall at This Week in Geek. So take it away, me or Birdman.
Basically using geeks.
Leave me alone, geek boy.
Holy shit, you geeks are badass.
For the last little bit, I've been playing through Meg's Monster. Now, for those that might be a little familiar with hearing the title, it's because we mentioned it a while ago. I should mention actually first that we were sent a review copy ahead of time on the Xbox. It's also available on Switch and PC. But this is a game that has been on my radar since, I think, was it 2 summers ago? It might even be 3 summers. The pandemic's kind of weird. And this was the RPG, sort of almost in the style of like an HD-ish version of Game Boy Advance, where I saw it at, I think it was the Japanese Indie Game Show, that like 8 hours of programming that I would watch every year during the pandemic when it was right around E3 time. And the gimmick behind it is you can't let Meg cry. You're a monster and you have a battle. You're in your battles. You have 99,000 HP, and Meg has 30 or so, however many points of happiness. And if she gets sad and starts to cry, the world will end and it's destroyed. It's a very different take on the turn-based Japanese-style RPGs, in that it forces you to play, inventively, a little differently than normal. What's interesting about it is it's not overly long. Like, you can beat this game in somewhere between 15 to 20 hours. It's got a very, interactive and different, battle combat system. If you liked something like Undertale or something that really turns the JRPG tropes on its head, this is kind of the game for you, because it doesn't, request a ton of your time. At the same time, you're going to be pulled in and want to play more and more of it. It's a pretty well presented narrative overall. The graphics are really cool and give that early 2000s portable vibe, but just blown up obviously on a bigger screen. As far as battles are concerned, there's no grinding. So if you're somebody who likes doing non-essential battles and grinding, it's not here for you. It's not going to be there. There's not a ton to do between the major plot points. It sort of pulls you, along a path. I'd say it's a very interesting experiment and fun little game. It's fairly easy. It's not an overly difficult game, whatsoever. You can get game over if you don't plan your battle right, or if Meg cries and blows up the world, basically. But I don't think, if you're somebody who is, somewhat intermediately experienced with RPGs, you should have a pretty good time. It's one of the better indie games I've played. And also, it's great to see more games coming to Xbox, because there's not a ton of JRPGs on Xbox. And obviously, you can play this on Switch. It's going to work on any platform you play it on. It's not going to be something that, the Switch has trouble with. As far as PC goes, obviously, it'll play well on PC because it plays well on Xbox. You can't really go wrong with any platform. I would say, if you like playing portable and you want to preserve that experience of almost like a Game Boy Advance, then maybe go with the Switch copy. But if you're like me and you like playing a lot of your games at home, the Xbox version plays perfectly fine too. Plus, you get trophies that way, and that's the one thing the Nintendo's platform is sort of lacking, or achievements. Sorry, that is. Visually, it's good. It's got good audio. The story is pretty decent. Some people might say it's a little on the short side, but I think it's that sweet spot for the price point. Depending on your market, it's somewhere between $15 and $20. You'll have to check your local stores and your local, whatever country you're in. But generally, in the dollars per gameplay and fun experiences, it's somewhere in that sweet spot. You'll play about 20 hours or so, and then you might want to go through it again. It's not going to have a ton of replayability. This is kind of like, hey, I want to have a new and interesting experience that I can't get anywhere else, and I want to do it for under $20. This is the kind of game you're going to pick out. Just a quick little review here of a couple of releases from Mill Creek. They sent over 2 DVDs, each with 2 comedy specials on them from different people. So this is the first time I think we might have ever covered stand-up comedy when it comes to DVD releases or home video releases, or maybe even ever. But the first set is a disc that has 2 comedy specials from Mike Birbiglia, which they're calling their stand-up spotlights, and I hope that they start releasing more like this. So the first special is a 60-minute special, which is what I should have said was nothing, and the second special is My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. I had honestly never heard of this comedian before, and I know that Comedy Dynamics is the company putting out the specials. I think the only time I've seen a Comedy Dynamics special was actually through like the Humble Bundle or something, and they had some comedians that were featured on there, and you could download it, royalty free. And in this case, these are releases that would have been either digital or online or some streaming point, but these are the first times they've been available on home video. It's got an MSRP of $10. Comedy wise, I laughed a fair bit at this. It's not like bust my gut funny. Everybody's going to have their own opinions because comedy is very subjective, but it's a solid release. The most important part, obviously, it's on DVD, so the video is going to be interlaced 480i. Doesn't matter, it's stand-up comedy. As far as audio goes, the audio is nice and clear and easy to hear, and that's what's obviously more important. And it's a pretty solid release that way. No other special features, just the 2 specials. But for $10 or MSRP, that's MSRP meaning you're obviously going to pay less when you go to stores. You might see for $7 or $8 somewhere else, or maybe even, in a bin somewhere cheaper. The other set is a Jim Gaffigan collection, and I had seen Noble Ape, which is on here, but I hadn't seen Quality Time. So there's two of them here. Noble Ape is 90 minutes, Quality Time is 75 minutes. And if you know Jim Gaffigan, he's the fairly clean comedian who is still actually funny in a day and age where it seems everybody has to be a blue or dirty comic. Again, MSRP $10. Well worth it. I think it's pretty obvious this is probably going to sell more because he's a bigger name. But I would say it's worth checking out Mike's one as well. Overall, video is as clear as you're going to get from a DVD at this point. Audio is where it's at. The audio quality is better than you're going to get when you're streaming, because when you stream it, they usually, or watch it online or any other method that way, or TV, they always compress it all to hell. It's as clear as you can get without going to like a Blu-ray format or something where you have uncompressed audio. But overall, it was nice and clear and easy to hear. I ended up popping it in when I was at my mom/grandma's place, because they've got one of those. They've got a Roku stream bar, for their TVs. I was like, I wanted to hear how it would sound coming out of a sound bar, basically, and didn't even have to turn on the clear audio voice thing. It automatically knew how to map it properly, and it sounded perfectly clear. Pretty solid release overall for the Jim Gaffigan one. They're both MSRP about $10. If you can, find both for under $20, well worth it. If I had to pick one for my own personal taste, the Jim Gaffigan one is probably better for me. But again, take that with a grain of salt, because comedy is completely subjective, and you might like somebody better than somebody else. And there's no right answer to that. Just happy to see that we can get some of these stand-up specials on the cheap, for home video. And it's the kind of stuff you can throw on every once in a while if you want to have a quick laugh.
What do we have here? Yeah, here I thought we were special.
What the hell?
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and I'm here to talk to you about a really cool Transformer that I got a chance to take a look at from our friends over at Hasbro. They sent over the Transformers Collaborative Top Gun mashup. This is Maverick. Now, this was originally supposed to come out with the Top Gun Maverick movie that came out this past summer, which I do recommend and I reviewed on this show a little while ago. So this is based upon the iconic F-14 Tomcat. Basically, what Tom Cruise always was known as Captain Pete Mitchell's signature aircraft. This is the Transformer in a lot of ways I've always wanted. I've always been a big fan of the F-14 design. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about military vehicles, but I do know what looks cool. And this could have been really, really lazy, but I don't think it is. Now, this is a Transformer that I think you're either going to love or you're not going to necessarily pick up. And allow me to explain what I mean in this review. So the F-14 vehicle mode for this thing looks sick. And I'm kind of hoping they re-release this mold down the line with like Starscream colors or Thundercracker or Skywarp, and they do the Seekers. I think that'd be really cool. But as it stands, you get what is essentially the F-14, and it transforms into this very Macross/Robotech looking robot mode with this kind of a stylized head that has Maverick's pilot helmet as the head sculpt. His two fuel pods become these two like pistols, and he has his missiles, which like you can tab those into the back. Transforming this thing, it's actually pretty easy to do, all things considered. In terms of accessories, I did do a little bit of research on this, and there are two variants of this. The one I got was the second variant, which doesn't come with an extra set of hands and only comes with Maverick's motorcycle from the movie. If you happen to get the first release of this figure, you got an extra set of hands that like you can tab out, and they come with a volleyball accessory, because volleyball, Top Gun, there's a meme in there somewhere, I'm sure. But the figure itself, I do like the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode looks amazing. When it gets in the robot mode, it's because the paint isn't as matching as it should, because it has kind of this camo kind of decal to it. It doesn't necessarily look as good as I think it should, which is why I'm kind of saying with this particular figure, you're either going to love it or hate it. Now, I personally have mine displayed in vehicle mode because I love the F-14 and I always have. It was my favorite aircraft kind of growing up. But then I started doing a little bit of digging on this, and I realized there's something that this figure might be able to offer you if you're somebody who's a little bit more crafty. If you're willing to do a little bit of modification to this figure, you could really recreate like Skull Squadron or any of the Veritech fighters from Macross if you happen to be that skilled with paint. And it's cool though, because there is kind of a Gerwalk mode, which is where in the Macross series you could transform your Veritech fighter into kind of a hybrid between a jet and the robot mechanoid mode, where, you know, it could use its weapons from the robot mode and vehicle mode. It was kind of this weird kind of hybrid thing. So the Top Gun X collaboration between Top Gun Maverick, does it work? Well, in package, this thing looks incredible. Like, it's taking off of the aircraft carrier. It's got a really nice window box. It looks really, really cool. When you get it out of package, again, it displays really well. You can put down its landing gear. It looks great. In fact, of all the Transformer collaboratives that I have, and I've got most of them, I've got Ectotron, I've got Gigawatt, I have the Jurassic Park vehicle, JP93. I don't have the T-Rex because I couldn't afford that one, but I found somebody selling it on Facebook and I got it. And I even have the Universal Monsters Draculus. I think this is probably my favorite vehicle mode, because it looks fantastic. The robot mode I'm not totally sold on because it's a little bit spindly in some ways, but that doesn't affect how well it stands up. It stands up pretty strong. It has kind of funny looking feet, almost like it's wearing high heels, but hey, it's 2023 and you do you. So the Transformer Collaborative Top Gun Mashup Maverick, do I recommend it? I'm going to say this. If you're a customizer, you might have something really fantastic on your hands. If you're a more casual Transformers collector, it is a worthwhile mold, but to a serious Top Gun fan, if you really like Transformers, if you really like Top Gun Maverick, then this is pretty much a no-brainer. Like I said, the vehicle mode looks fantastic. It's an interesting transformation, and it is probably one of the more interesting mashups I've seen so far, but I really think the specialty customizers out there could have a field day with this. Now, you can get this from Walmart. You can also get it on HasbroPulse.com if you're willing to look there, or you might be able to find it from other third-party retailers. So my final verdict on this, if you're a hardcore collector, then this is going to basically depend a lot on personal taste. If you're a casual collector, I might say skip it. But if you like the Top Gun movie and you want something kind of neat in your collection that's kind of niche, I think having this is actually kind of cool. Like I said, the fact that it displays so well in box is incredibly cool. So that is my opinion on the Transformers Collaborative Top Gun Mashup Maverick. Like I said, you can find this from your favorite third-party retailer or from HasbroPulse.com.
No turning back now.
Come on!
Jeez! Having any fun yet?
This is a fair request, and I promise I will not judge any person only as a teenager, and that this is no more right than saying all teenagers are drunken dope addicts or glue sniffers.
Our friends over at Mill Creek sent a couple new releases for us to check out on Blu-ray. We have the Sci-Fi from the Vault. It's a 4-film collection, as well as Thrillers from the Vault, an 8-film collection of classic movies, either in some cases being released on Blu-ray for the first time, in other cases maybe being re-released, or they were ones that had a limited release or maybe not had a HD release. It's sort of a mixed bag of everything here. Now, as far as the Sci-Fi ones that are included, everything here from both sets are from the Columbia Pictures Sony vaults. With the 4-film collection, the Sci-Fi one, you have Creature with the Atom Brain. It Came from Beneath the Sea, 20 Million Miles to Earth, which has had a previous release. The 30-Foot Bride of Candy Rock. And everything here is presented in HD. Now, it says DTS Master Audio 2.0. These are all mono pictures where it's just dual mono. So it's spreading the mono channel out to 2 channels. It's not going to, really affect you. You're not going to have like stereo spacing involved with these. But bonus features are They Came from Beyond and Fantastical Features, which are 2 sort of classic, mini documentaries. There's also select audio commentaries on the films with different film historians. There's a pretty good overall video quality transfer on these, being that they're all black and white, or for the most part all these films were intended for black and white. They come on 2 discs, so 2 movies per disc, with some special features spread out. They are dual layer discs, so you're getting maximum quality because black and white does not take up nearly as much chroma data, so the bitrate doesn't have to be as high to be of the same quality, and they're pretty solid. All of them are decent B movies for the era. Now, as far as the other set is concerned, there's the thrillers. These are horror / thriller, whatever you want to call them. These are spread out. There's 4 discs involved. Obviously, same thing, 2 movies per disc. The set includes The Black Room with Boris Karloff, The Man They Could Not Hang, which is a Boris Karloff picture as well, Before I Hang, the Boris Karloff picture, The Man with 9 Lives, Boris Karloff picture. You noticing a trend here? The Devil Commands, which is a Boris Karloff picture. The Boogeyman Will Get You, which is a Boris Karloff picture with Peter Lorre. The Return of the Vampire, which is a Bela Lugosi picture. And a movie called 5, which has William Phipps, Susan Douglas, and James Anderson. As far as features here, you have Madness and Mayhem, which is a little mini doc on horror films of the 30s and 40s. Pretty decent considering, this is sort of just a collection. In the past, you would have just thrown these movies on and not had anything, but it's a decent documentary. All the movies look pristine. They're all in their original aspect ratio, 1:3:3 to 1. Some of them are 1:3:7 to 1, but framed for 1.3. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Just know that they're all in the original aspect ratio of how they were intended. Audio-wise, they sound as good as they're probably going to sound unless somebody went into the original optical tapes and then really touched them up. But this is as good as they've ever sounded. Better than they've ever looked on any other format, especially some of these like the Bela Lugosi one and some of the Karloff stuff is just, it's a lot better than any of the knockoff prints or old VHS and DVDs that have been released in the past. If you're somebody who loves these films, you're not going to probably find them individually anyway, so it's good getting them all in a pack, and they're competitively priced for the collector, but also for the casual viewer or somebody who just loves classic cinema. I would say it's worth checking them out. Some of these are probably ones that either have been covered or probably will at some point be covered on our Earth versus Soup programming. So I'll have to double check with Aaron on that. But some of them are pretty solid, really. Some of them aren't going to be great. Some of them are just like pieces of the time. But overall, they're really interesting to watch. Pop them on in the background. They are definitely interesting pieces of the era.
Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Hold that thought. It's crapper time.
Alex here with just a quick review of a couple VR cover headset accessories for VR devices. It's been a little while since we've had anything to review from them because we covered pretty much everything that they had from their Quest 2 line when we got our Quest 2 a couple of years back. And since then, there's been some more devices released. We were sent a cover for the Pico 4. Now, that is something that I was not familiar with, and I don't actually have that device. I was looking to see if I could get my hands on one, but instead, I just had to sort of review it just based on the materials alone and just seeing the quality that it provides. And overall, it's pretty good. I can tell it's going to be an upgrade from what comes in the base box. What you end up with is something that is double layered, so it can actually absorb some of the moisture and take it away from you. It's 100% cotton fabric, so it's not going to be something that irritates your skin if you're somebody who's allergic or has skin irritation from certain types of plastics and so on. Pretty straightforward. If you're somebody who has the Pico 4 and you're looking to get something a little higher quality that you know is not going to be, made with some weird chemicals or anything, VR Cover has you covered. Haha, pun intended, I guess. Because there's not a ton of other companies out there that make high quality stuff for that device from my cursory research into looking for accessories for it. The other device that they sent a cover for is the MetaQuest Pro. And I waited a little bit to review this because I had to wait till I knew a family member was picking up the MetaQuest Pro. And I got a chance to, get the cover, try it out on their device and see how it compared to the stock the stock foam and comfort levels that you get with the MetaQuest Pro. And I'm happy to say that just like the Quest 2 covers that they created, it's a lot better. You end up with the same thing, 2 layers of absorbent material. It wicks away pretty much all sweat or condensation that can normally build up in VR headsets if you're somebody who's had them. It's very simple to attach. You sort of just hook it on and it clips on and around, and it ends up being much more comfortable than the stock cover and cushion levels that's on there. Made, again, completely out of cotton, not going to irritate you. It comes with 2 pieces, so you can either swap out if somebody else wants to play right away and they don't feel comfortable. You don't want to have like any bit of sweat or anything that was touching your head touch them. You can swap out and have a second player, just, boom, you're ready to go and have a second player playing, or you have a backup to use for yourself when you want to swap it out. Advantages with it wicking away and not absorbing, any and leaving like moisture or anything on the edge of it. Your sweat's not going to get gross and grody on it. It's easy to wipe down when you're done and not have like any smelly bacteria build up. So it's always good to have a backup piece. The fact that you get 2 is always great. I'm happy that they're supporting more and more of the newer headsets and devices coming out. I'd be interested to see if maybe in the future they cover some stuff for the PlayStation VR 2, which, we don't have yet, but maybe down the line we'll pick up one of those headsets as it hopefully gets reduced in price. As it stands now, if you're somebody who's picked up a MetaQuest Pro or you have the Pico 4 and you're looking to get something a little more comfortable, a little more hygienic, and just overall a better feel and experience, I think VR Cover has pretty good solutions for you.
Those magnificent bastards.
Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
And that's going to do it for this very quick edition of TurdOrTreasure, our dedicated review show on This Week in Geek. I know we've got some more stuff in the bag ready to go. As far as programming, here's a quick update on what's going on. We've been teasing and talking about other programs that we've been recording over the last few weeks, but because Birdman's schedule was kind of erratic because he's got a lot going on with hockey and volunteering and city council stuff, writing for the newspaper, as well as just in general going out and having, some illnesses here and there. And I had the same deal where I was ill for a bit, going out. I'm doing a fair amount of stuff for my grandmother. Basically, I'm having to go, babysit, for lack of a better term. Her dementia's gotten pretty rough. For anybody out there who's been through that with a family member, that you have really good days and then you have really bad days. And my mom is her full-time caretaker and she's retired too. She needs some breaks. So, a lot of it is just going over there, watching TV with her, making sure she doesn't wander or whatever if she's having a bad day. And, cleaning up if she makes a mess somewhere or puts things in the wrong spot, and that sort of stuff. So there's been some of that, a lot of bad weather, so we haven't been able to leave much. And just catching up overall on TV shows and movies and whatnot. It was a slow little while with things coming in for review, but then it seemed the last week or so a bunch of movies and stuff came in all at once. So we're going to be cataloging and going through all of that. There is an opportunity. Well, can't say for sure we're going to do it, but we may be covering some more stuff from Asmodee. I'm going to double check with them. It looks like there's a deck building game for Star Wars we might be checking out the next little bit. Same goes for maybe something from Instax, which is the company that sent us the printer where you take a digital picture and it prints it like almost like a what's it called, like a Polaroid sort of thing. They've got some other stuff on the works that they've contacted us about. Same with some stuff maybe coming from Film Chest. Going to be in talks with them about some new upcoming interesting products. I'm working on a review for Justice League Cosmic Chaos. I'll be checking that out in the next week or so. And I mentioned earlier, Birdman has the Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse to work on. Beyond that, as far as what we've got coming up, we have already recorded an episode of Future Imperfect that we did a week or two ago. Maybe it's almost 3 weeks ago now, where Aaron and I went over the first episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3 and our hopes and thoughts on it. We'll have even more of that going forward as Birdman is catching up. This week, episode 5 drops. So we're going to record a podcast covering the first half of the show with Birdman. And then we'll do one again once the series is over for the season, or I guess it's the finale overall at the very end. So we'll have 3 coverages. One was just our initial thoughts, and then we're going to have half a season. We've also got an episode recorded of Loose Cannon that we recorded, the 3 of us together. We have an episode that Birdman did with Ken on, I think it was romance anime. That is just, we're waiting on figuring out what slot to put that in. We've also got, I think, one more episode in there somewhere. I got to double check. We have 3 or 4 episodes that we have to. I have to edit, put together, schedule, and those will be releasing on our Wednesday time slots that we usually put our random shows on, or alternating shows on there. I will be in the process over the next couple days editing the next either 4 to 8 weeks worth of Earth versus Soups that come out every Thursday. We don't want to skip any of those. As of this recording, because of our schedules and whatnot, Birdman and I had to record the main Twig show a little late, so that's actually coming on Tuesday, and this show is probably coming late Monday, depending on when I'm able to edit. So we should have this week, if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, you will have the TurdOrTreasure. Then the following day will be the regular Twig show. Then we'll have something, probably the Future Imperfect on Wednesday. Thursday will be the Earth versus Soup, and I think that's it for this week. But then next week we'll have another 3 or 4 programs going for you. The idea is we want to have as little gaps in programming as possible. So once we get rolling, we should be good. I know Birdman's also working on some stuff with JT and maybe Ken for more. And then we're going to have some prototype coverage of... that's right. Ken and I did record it. So we're actually going to put out the prototype this week. Ken and I did on the year upcoming in gaming, as well as what we thought of the most recent showcases that happened from Nintendo and Nacon and a bunch of other companies that all seemed to drop at the same time last week. We also will have prototypes in the near future recording on our thoughts of The Last of Us, both the TV show and the game franchise as a whole. And I think that Birdman wants to do more on some other series coming up. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works. It's just going to be a few weeks till we get everything sorted out. And then, of course, later on in the year, we're going to be having our actual play stuff of Power Rangers and Transformers, and then maybe some more stuff. So a lot of stuff in the works. That's pretty much giving you guys up to date on everything we're doing. We might have some more stuff in the background, but we don't want to announce anything too early. Just, we have things rolling. It's just been kind of hectic trying to get our schedule aligned, even to have the regular show out on its regular time Monday mornings. So for the next few weeks, it might be Monday afternoons or Tuesday mornings. All depends on Birdman's and my schedule and how things shake out. I'm going to be going this week, or this Friday, to do a family get-together finally that's been put off for several weeks. One due to one family member getting COVID, and then bad weather and not feeling good and everything. But we're doing like 3 different birthdays, celebrating on the same day, just to get everybody together on the Friday. And then the Saturday, I'm actually going to go see, as long as weather permitting, I'm going to go see Enter the Drag Dragon, which is a drag queen kung fu movie that is like locally, as in like I think Ottawa produced, and that's on like Saturday night. I'll be interested to see who else is going to it, who else sees it, but it's at my local art house theater. I renewed my membership there. I haven't had it for a year or two, but it's $10 and it reduces the cost of your other tickets. And plus, I want to support local indie art, and it should be fun. It looks like Lloyd Kaufman from Troma might have a cameo in there, and some other people. So I'm just looking to have a fun time with a good crowd. It's probably a terrible, hilariously bad movie, but I'm just happy to go see that and support local filmmakers. So that's pretty much my week upcoming. We'll be back, I guess, next Sunday or Monday, depending on how things work, with Birdman and I'll probably give an update, maybe a mini review on what I thought of that movie. So that's it. It's March break in most of Canada. I think it's spring break in the States, or at least right around that point. So everybody, if you are going out, be safe. Don't do anything stupid, or at least nothing too stupid. And overall, have a good time, relax, come home, and listen, subscribe. Probably going to be doing some more streaming. You got to get back to doing Dragon Quest. We'll see. Probably sometime later this week, we'll have some Dragon Quest streaming out. And I've recovered from doing all my marathon streams of 75 hours worth of streaming in a week or so of Octopath Traveler 2. Now I can get back to streaming shorter streams for smaller, easier to stream titles. So thanks again. We'll be back, I guess, in about a week or so. Check out all of our programming.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.